Welcome back. We're talking about Lebanon's political future. The country just appointed a new president after more than 2 years without one. Let's get back to our panel. Edmund, let me start with you again. The process that led to Michel Aoun becoming president was, as we've just pointed out, 2.5 years with no president. I guess the breakthrough came when the Sunni leader, Said Hariri, threw in his support behind Michel Aoun. What led to that? Why did he suddenly support Michel Aoun?
Well, I think there are a lot of changes. First of all, there is a recognition that the economic situation was deteriorating so rapidly and everybody is going to be affected by it. Also, Hariri, who said that he didn't have the money anymore that he used to have, and he therefore needs to work with the others. I think there's also a recognition by the different parties. They wanted to keep the regional players who wanted to keep Lebanon a little bit away from the conflicts that the region is witnessing, whether it's in Iraq, whether it's in Syria, whether it's in Yemen, where we are seeing, for example, this confrontation between Iran and Saudi Arabia taking place. So to a certain extent, there are some important development, and this is the point that you mentioned earlier when you talked about consensus. I don't think General Aoun would have been elected had there not been consensus among not only the domestic players, but the regional players as well. And recently, there have been some good signs of that. A Saudi delegation has visited, led by Prince Khalid al-Faisal, who's the Emir of Mecca. And apparently, he extended an invitation to the new Lebanese president, to General Aoun, to visit Saudi Arabia. That's a significant step. Perhaps, although we have to wait and see, we might see the beginning of some kind of dialogue or, I wouldn't want to call it reconciliation, but agreement between Iran and Saudi Arabia that might influence their supporters on the Lebanese front to at least begin some dialogue. And maybe if it succeeds, ultimately it might contribute to some dialogue between the Iranians and the Saudis, although I have to wait and see.
Right, Halim, looking at success or failure, can President Michel Aoun get the Lebanese people on board? Is he a unifying figure?
So, at the moment, as Edmund mentioned, he does come with a broad coalition from various communities in Lebanon. And this is at the level of the political parties. And so he does have a unique position because of his very strong alliance with Hezbollah and his new alignments or understandings with Hariri and Jaja. However, as a unifying figure, he still has his critics, as is normal with all politicians in Lebanon. And I think it all depends on how he's going to perform, what he's going to do, what he's going to say, and the success of, as we mentioned before, his anti-corruption program, and showing the Lebanese public that things are going to be better on a day-to-day basis in terms of electricity, water, the garbage, and also combating corruption in the state institutions, and bringing back kind of trust in Lebanon for foreign investments. So there's a lot on his shoulders, but at this moment he's been called the father of everybody, Bay al-Kil, which I think, to judge it with good intentions, I think it's meant perhaps that he wants to reach out to all Lebanese. But on the other hand as well, there are a lot of Lebanese who say what we need is really state institutions, anti-corruption, transparency, accountability on all levels of the government, and also seeing deliverables on a day-to-day level.
Right, Spiro, I'm wondering among the Lebanese people how much has changed, because if we look at just last year, August 2015, there was a big demonstration in Lebanon by Free Patriotic Movement supporters who were protesting what they said was the marginalization of Christian rights in Lebanon. Has that changed?
I think that the election of General Aoun today can constitute a change towards curbing that feeling. I think that Christians finally feel that they have a chance at equal representation by having a strong Christian president sitting next to a strong Sunni prime minister and a strong Shia parliament leader. You know, Christians, the FPM and Christians in general have maintained over the last, I'd have to say 10 years, that we haven't had a strong Christian figure in a position of power, which is the presidency in our system, representing the rights of Christians, and that extends across multiple ministries, multiple institutions, in jobs, in representation in terms of army officers, and so forth. So I feel that the advent of General Aoun as president has changed this feeling, and we have to see now how the execution of all of these programs that should level the playing field between all these different sects in Lebanon should make all groups, not just the Christians, the Sunnis, the Shias, and the Christians, feel like they have an equal partnership in this country. It's the only way that Lebanon can function, and that can be translated into day-to-day things that you could feel every day in your everyday life in Lebanon.
Edmund, I want to get to one foreign policy issue, and that is the Syrian crisis, which looms very large in this neighborhood. What is the relationship between Michel Aoun and Bashar al-Assad?
Apparently, it's a good relationship. I don't think that's something that has been there for a long time, but I think because of the situation, there's been attempt. There was even talk that Bashar al-Assad may even go to Lebanon to congratulate General Aoun, but I don't think that was a realistic thing. I think it was floated. But the problem is going to be not here. Lebanon is going to be in a very difficult situation because there are supporters of the opposition in Lebanon, and they are strong, they are influential, but there are also supporters of the regime with Hezbollah and other forces on the ground. And so I think if he can at least try to minimize the interventions by these different Lebanese forces inside in the Syrian conflict, then this would be a step forward. However, I don't think Lebanon has much influence. It doesn't have much clout, and neither does General Aoun to influence the situation inside what's going on in Syria.
Right. Halim, I mentioned earlier on that President Aoun has the support of Hezbollah. What does Hezbollah want out of this?
Well, the critics of the paper of agreement that was signed in February of 2006 between Hezbollah and the Free Patriotic Movement of General Aoun, they were saying that what General Aoun was doing was giving Hezbollah a Christian cover for maintaining their arms, their weapons basically, and currently for their involvement in Syria. So there is an element of truth to that, because Hezbollah did gain a lot from having the largest Christian party, and still arguably it is the largest Christian party, that is having an alliance with Hezbollah. And Hezbollah, obviously, you know, the subject of its weapons in Lebanon is a matter of discord and divide. A lot of voices here want Hezbollah to hand over its weapons. Hezbollah doesn't think that it is the right time. So it's a controversial issue. So definitely Hezbollah has won from its alliance with General Aoun. And specifically now, with getting him to the presidency, so to speak, Hezbollah has shown that the alliances it makes on the internal level, it kind of delivers. So on the level of the Christian, perhaps, supporters of General Aoun, President Aoun now, I think they have a lot of good feelings towards Hezbollah, because they feel that they contributed to General Aoun becoming a president. So I think it's a win-win situation on both sides. On some issues for President Aoun, I think it did lose him some of his, perhaps, supporters who weren't very happy with the agreement, but that's an issue, obviously, for debate.
Edmund?
Basically, what I wanted to say is that I think one of the main things that General Aoun, if he can accomplish that, I don't think the issue of weaponry and the control by the state over the weapons is going to happen anytime soon, before the Syrian conflict ends. But I think if he can begin to deliver on the social issues, the water, the electricity, taking care of the people, making the appointments, if he can begin to deal with the economic issues, opening Lebanon again for investment, improves Lebanon's relations with the neighbors, and signs, there's one of the reasons may have been also for this appointment, is that Lebanon needed to sign some agreements dealing with the question of oil in the Mediterranean, because right now there's cooperation between Israel and and Cyprus over oil, that Lebanon also has part of that oil field. So that was something that was extremely important that pushed the different parties to sign. So I think he has a chance. I don't think he's going to be able to eliminate corruption or undermine the confessional system.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks to all of you for joining us.